I'm David Jaggs from the Ragamuffins. This is how to play Si Senor. So you start with a little riff on your top 2 strings, where you've got your middle finger on your 12th fret there, on your top E string, and you're playing the 13 on your B string, and you're going. Then you're sliding down to 10 on your E string and 12 on your B string. So you're going, and then the same again, just sliding down 2 frets again. And then you're going to the 5th fret on your E string and the 6th fret on your B string. So you're going. Then you flattening just your index finger like this on your top 3 strings there at the 10th fret. So you're playing all 3 strings, plucking like this. Sliding up to your 12. And then you're playing a bar chord here, which is a C bar chord. So you go, if you put it all together, it goes. So that's the start, that's your intro. You can play it one of 2 ways. It's very simple in terms of the chords that we play in the song. It's a C chord. There's something that the cop wants you to know, which is a C to an A minor. So there's something that the cop wants you to know. Then it's F to G. Best in the world is Bobby Firmino. I know when I give him the ball, he'll score every time. And that is just C to G. Si Senor, give the ball to Bobby and he will score. But what we tend to do is play it with bar chords. If you want to be a bit more adventurous, so we'll go like. Because you can get that sort of like. Get a bit more rhythm to it. If you want to be really fancy for an intro, you can play an A chord like this. So you can go C. So there's something that the cop wants you to know. The best in the world is Bobby Firmino. Like that. And I threw in a little cheeky D minor chord there. You don't need to do that. Keep it simple. Cool. Nice. It's for Redmen. There's something that the cop wants you to know. The best in the world is Bobby Firmino.
Hey, what's happening? It is 7 o'clock. It is Thursday. It is time for Thursday Night Pint. We've got some boss guests. We've got some boss topics. And I hope you've brought the Kleenex, because Chris Paytek's on the show. And also we're going to chat about the field farewell of a beloved Liverpool star/stars, as well as previewing the game at the weekend. And because we're getting towards transfer season as well, if we're not already fully in the swing, let's be perfectly honest, we're going to be prioritising and ranking Liverpool's most needed positional signings in the transfer window. Nailed it, Paul. That is part 2. Part 1, we're going to be chatting about the farewells. Part 3, we're going to be doing the preview to the Aston Villa game. Stay tuned, get yourself a bevy, put your feet up, and we'll crack on. But before we do, let's look back at the week in Liverpool. And yeah, Liverpool kicked off this very particular week with a big 3-0 win over Leicester City, despite them having James Maddison, despite them having Harvey Barnes, and despite them having a 1,000-year-old Jamie Vardy, Liverpool were able to take down the once upon a time 5,000 to 1 Premier League winners, dooming them closer and closer to potential relegation, all despite the fact that they already spent their parachute payment on those weird clapper things. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, Leicester closing in on relegation. I wonder if those fans who were present could tell you the odds on that one. Curtis Jones. Big game for Curtis Jones. The other Scouser in our team bagged a brace on the night. The first, a very cool back post finish. The second one was a wonderful tee-up spin and volley into the far corner, which not only set Liverpool on their way to 3 big points, it also forced loads of weirdo little trolls back into their mummy and daddy funded boy caves. My heart absolutely bleeds for them. My heart does. It genuinely bleeds for them. Take a moment. The poor unfortunate souls. There were more emotional moments in the Liverpool-Leicester game, none more so than the final whistle, which saw the Liverpool travelling fans, the away end, serenading Roberto Firmino, not just with a 15-minute rendition during the game, but post-match as well. Yeah, I'm not crying. You're not crying. None of us are crying. Promise. 100% promise. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Saturday is going to be so fine. On the subject of that, Liverpool's official Twitter account announced officially that 4 players will be leaving the club at the end of the season. We've known it's been coming for a while, but now we know that it is in fact official. The players will get an official farewell from the Liverpool fans post-match at the Aston Villa game. So yeah, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Naby Keita, James Milner, Bobby Firmino, we're all going to be fine. We're all going to be fine. I promise. Yes. And lastly, breaking news for this afternoon, the FA have announced, finally, in a decision that almost took as long as all of those VAR decisions that they showed on Monday Night Football last week, they finally, 3 weeks on, decided to issue Jurgen Klopp with a 2-game touchline ban for, and I'm paraphrasing, but calling Paul Tierney a bald, incompetent referee and fool. I am paraphrasing, I can't attest that was exactly what he said, even though they have released the transcript. The first game of the touchline ban will be this Saturday, so yes, he won't be on the touchline for Roberto Firmino's game. Fine, we're all fine. We're all fine. I'm fine, you're fine, we're all fine. For those of you wondering, by the way, it took them 3 weeks to sort out Jurgen Klopp's touchline ban. One of those games is, of course, suspended until the end of next season. However, wonder club, magical, aren't they brilliant for getting to a Champions League final with no help whatsoever? Club Manchester City have yet to find any more out about the 115 charges and allegations hanging over their head. Weird that. Weird. Don't hold your breath on that one. Right, let's move on. That was the week in Liverpool. This is here. This is now. This is Thursday Night Pint. You can interact with the show using the live show chat on YouTube. If you're a club legend, you can use the Discord chat as well. And it leaves me no more to do than to introduce my first guest of the evening. It is a man who had salt and pepper chicken for dinner, and you can tell. Let's see if you can tell how when he walks in. We'll see. It is Mr. Steve Hoare! Woo! You had a thigh full of it as well earlier.
I did, yeah. They spilled on my jeans, then put crisp noticed, yeah. But no, all clean.
I mean, to be fair, when you get salt and pepper chicken, I'm amazed that more of it doesn't end up everywhere. Was it like a...
Well, a little bit, yeah. It wasn't, obviously, I hadn't realised. I had to come straight in and Chris, when you've got something on your jeans. It's fine, I just licked it and it's all good.
After that, you were saving some for later.
I was, yeah, absolutely.
Right, speaking of which, let's introduce the legendary hero of Redmen TV himself, the star, co-star of the Deep Dive show and more. It is Mr. Chris Pajak. Ooh, he's gone for the win! Jesus Christ. Yes! Spectacular! Well done.
I think my arse might have fallen out my jeans there.
My arse hurts.
How much of his arse did you see there, Amber? 100% of his arse. Fabulous. Very energetic, well done.
I saw the whole of them.
You've been promising that maybe to yourself for quite a while, haven't you?
That could have been spectacularly bad.
Could have.
He's not bladdered like a few of the instances at the last live show, tomorrow's live show.
You did try a cartwheel, didn't you?
Try many cartwheels.
Done a number of cartwheels. One cartwheel on a fine. It's fine.
I think Paul said to me the next day, I said, how many times did the stack it? He went, 4 more than a 40-year-old should at a quiz night.
Yeah. It's not even a quiz night. Tomorrow night's live event at Hotel Anfield. So you can only begin to imagine how many times Chris is going to stack it at that one. And the only way you're going to see that is by coming and joining us at Hotel Anfield. Tickets, link will be below. Right, anyway, that's enough of us. All right?
Just gonna drink, mate.
All right, nice. Let's introduce our first guest. An absolute superstar, big helper when it comes to the Liverpool fans supporting food banks as well. It is the wonderful Jen Mercer! Woo! Woo! Hi.
Hi.
Ready?
Always.
Got lots of deep held emotions around Bobby Firmino that you just bubble under the surface.
So many.
You're going to cry?
Probably not.
Not tonight.
Saturday.
Maybe on Saturday, yeah. That might be a little bit different, mightn't it, on Saturday?
We'll have to see. We'll have to see how the show goes. It's the challenge. Nobody cry tonight. Save it all for Saturday. Or possibly Chris when he falls over on Friday night. Right. Our final guest for the evening is the superstar artist behind so many of the great murals. He's currently painting a brand new Bobby Firmino mural down by the King Harry pub. It is the wonderfully talented John Culshaw! Woo! Woo!
Okay. Sammy, yeah, good.
It's a night off.
No, it's night off, yeah. Still been working all day though.
You've done a great job to not still come in. I mean, Steve couldn't even come in without dinner on his keks, and you've been painting a 40-foot wall and haven't got a lick of paint on you.
It's not a big deal for him, is it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say that. Fair enough, yeah, I don't want to take that.
We've made a bigger deal out of it. Your keks, like
Yeah, it was not ideal.
You just let it go, Chris. It would have been absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. Right, let's crack in. Bobby Firmino, as Anfield farewell looms, John. We were chatting before you came in there. There's not going to be many dry eyes at Anfield, I don't think, at the weekend. I think we've known it's been coming for a while now. You know, we had the little tantalising thing when he comes on against Manchester United, and everyone gets to give him a little bit of a cheer and stuff. But the reality of losing Bobby Firmino and the fact that he's not going to be, it's the last time I'm going to see him at Anfield, it's going to matter something big, I think.
Yeah, bit of a end of an era sort of thing, innit? So, I don't know, it's going to be sad to see him go, but there's so many forwards now that I'm hoping that this is going to be the new front three.
Ruthless. I've painted. I've been painting them for a week, Paul. Just want some new people to paint.
I am sick of his face and his teeth. All I've seen for a week is the thing.
I don't think I'm as sentimental as you guys.
Yeah. What's he smiling for, honestly? Do you know how hard it is to paint teeth?
Why are you painting the mural off him?
Because he has been a massive part of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But my thing is, I want to change my murals every season. I want to change every time I paint a mural. So from now on, I'm going to paint 3 walls a season and change them. I don't think the mural should stay up for forever. I think there should be a new, instead of putting more and more and more every year. Just have, say, 10 murals.
Are you a minimalist at home? Like, do you have anything from your
I'm
space
lazy
in school?
to at home. But, but no, it's just I don't like to force people getting bored of me work.
Yeah.
Just seeing it fade away. Put something new there before they get bored.
Is there something to the fact that once it's done, and you can't go back to it, and it will you will see something that you've done wrong on it, and it'll annoy you forever?
Oh, mate, I've I've been back to jobs in the middle of the night, thinking I've got to fix that. I don't even think there's a job yet that doesn't play on my mind. I think, oh, there's something there. I need to go and fix this. I need to go and fix that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's always
I thought there might have been a little undercurrent on that. Jeremy touched upon it then. Bobby Firmino, obviously not just Bobby. We'll talk about him. We'll talk about Milner. We can talk about Naby Knox and fine. Anyone want to share thoughts and opinions on that? But John said it there. It's the end of an era thing. Like obviously, Wijnaldum's gone, Mane went last summer, but I think this bigger clutch of them, and the fact that you've got two lads, I think in Milner and him, on both beloved, but in completely different kind of ways, it does feel era ending, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's hard because like they've won it all, haven't they, with us? And then it's kind of like we're letting go with them, isn't it? We're like letting go with those clutches that we've had on them. Like obviously when Mane went and Wijnaldum, like I was gutted when Mane went. But I think it'll be ours on Saturday. And obviously, as I read before as well, before they come in, about Klopp's like touchline ban. And it's going to be this, obviously, so
he's going to miss it. I never even realised that. He'll come out after the game.
He's got to come, he's got to.
Yeah, he will.
But he'll miss like his Bobby's like their final
He won't
game.
be the one to like give him the hug and the final instructions to send him on, or if he starts him to give him the hug as he comes off the pitch and that kind of stuff, which is a bit shit when you think about it. Like,
It's proper shit, though.
yeah.
I want to cry now.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Why couldn't they suspend that one until like the away game?
Yeah.
You've suspended one till next season already. That's gutting, that, to be honest with you. The Bobby thing though, like I'm going to be heartbroken because he's like the beating heart of this Liverpool side for me. I think he's been my favourite Klopp player for a start. It's close, like, don't get me wrong, there's so many good ones, but he's the one that I fell in love with most. He plays with this smile on his face. You know that everybody loves him. He's always felt like, you know, there's a few of them that are a bit like the glue that holds the entire squad together, and he's always felt like the link to the Brazilians for one, but also, you know, he was there when Coutinho was there and they got on really well and all that type of stuff, and he's just got on with everybody all of the time. And I think the squad, they'll miss Milner, certainly, for his leadership and stuff, but they'll miss the fun in the games and the bobbiness of Bobby. And that's going to be really hard to replace. You can get another leader in, but someone who is the life and soul of the squad is very, very difficult to replace.
Two massive characters are leaving. That's the thing. They were there before Klopp, so they were obviously he were two that he decided they were good enough because he shipped loads out. He built this new team, but he decided to keep those.
Well, he comes in the same summer as Christian Benteke. You know what I mean? And there's an alternate universe where Benteke goes on to be the main man for Liverpool, and Firmino carries on like where Rodgers thought and is nowhere. But you're right, Firmino is central.
Yeah, and he decided to be good enough because he go back to it, he got rid of like the Bentekes. He thought loads of them were rubbish, but he kept Bobby, he kept Milner, he kept Henderson, and they've been right through. Like I said, they've won everything, like Jen just said. But I think it's the right time for Milner. The Firmino one, I'm a bit like John as well. It's like it's not like we're not losing the Roberto Firmino that we had. Does that make sense? I mean, it's a different.
And we haven't legged them.
Yeah.
We haven't kicked them out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's leaving with everyone's love. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And he knows that as well.
Exactly.
I
think the time it makes a bit of sense. Listen, if Liverpool want to keep both of them, you could easily have given them new contracts and boxed it off. But like, we keep talking about, you know, revolutionising the side. It feels like it is time for both, and it's going to be really. I don't think I'm not sure sad to like word. Actually, I think it'll be the other way around. I think it's going to be like a really happy day. Hopefully they win. But like, you know, like it was a bit like when Wijnaldum left. It wasn't really sad. It was like the Liverpool and Jaeger and the players. They're really good at making these things joyous. Yeah. You know, when Wijnaldum come through that little tunnel of players and stuff. Divock got it last summer, albeit in he was injured unfortunately, but he still got like the plaque and stuff like that. I think it'll be nice again. I think it's really important that he's fit. You know, because we don't. Milner will get on. Milner's been getting on every single game for 5 minutes, but I always felt a tinge of sadness for Divock again. It's a bit different, obviously, with he hasn't done as much for Liverpool as Firmino. I mean, arguably he has, but in different ways. But he was injured for his last game at Anfield, and it's not the same, is it? Whether Roberto Firmino starts or comes off the bench, that's going to be unbelievable. Same for James Milner, he'll be the exact same. So I think the news today that he trained and stuff for Firmino, I think that's huge. Yeah, no, it is, and there's just something about Firmino for me that he's a one of a kind. Yeah. You know, Milner is in different ways, but there's just something Bobby's just so weird. But he's a genius, isn't he? You know what I mean? Like, and
it's interesting because we're making this documentary, and I spoke to a significant Liverpool player for it last week, which we'll be revealing in the days to come. But he's saying like he's actually not off the pitch. He's not this huge, mad, charismatic thing, and that's the part of his charm is that he goes on the football pitch and he comes alive. He's a bit like Luis Suarez in that way, except not a lunatic, not horrible. You know what I mean? He's just lovely and there's the big smiles and the moments of insanity, but in like the most wonderful kind of creative kind of way, and that's what you and again, I don't want to feel like we're overstepping or stepping over the other players, but Milner's got timeless qualities. I think there's qualities that are losing in Milner that don't really exist in as much in modern footballers anymore. So you're losing two guys who you can replace bits and pieces. This is not like Ronaldo leaving Man United or Suarez leaving Liverpool, where you can't replace them with one guy. So you've got to replace the attitudes in that kind of top level, because I think we've replaced both of them already. But what you're losing, we'll never know down the line. John, is it fair that, I mean, I think Oxlade-Chamberlain and Naby Keita are going to get a big send-off too, and I think they should. But is it a bit of it must feel a bit weird for them, because they won't be immune to the fact that everyone's all over. I mean, we've just done it with Bobby Firmino and not the other ones.
I said just before that, any of the front three are always going to get the starlights, you know what I mean? They're always going to get the spotlight shown on them. And I think all the other players know that. Yeah. Everybody in the world knows it, you know what I mean? So I don't think it's going to come as no surprise that he's getting the big send-off that he's getting, that he deserves as well. Maybe they deserve it, I know, but they ain't never going to get it. He was going to get it, really.
I think the Milner one's interesting, because he does deserve it. He deserves equal as Roberto Firmino. Mm-hmm. He's been here just as long. He's won everything. He's been playing. I think those two have played more minutes under Klopp than anyone. They're number 1 and 2. He does deserve it. The issue is he hasn't got a song, and Roberto Firmino's got an amazing song. That's the difference. But
can I say, wouldn't it be a horrendous waste to unveil a James Milner song on his last home game?
I hope someone's got a banner or something. Yeah. I know there's a Firmino. I've seen the number 7 before, but like, is that really Milner? That's a general banner, but. The thing with Chamberlain and Keita is, like, it's just they haven't played enough, and it's no one. I mean, I'll be honest. I saw yesterday when it was announced, or the day before, a lot of people were a bit pricky about Naby Keita. To be honest with you, like, good luck to the three of them and what. That's out of order.
Yeah.
But in terms of the significance of the football club and what they've provided, I think there is a pecking order. And like I say, well, first of all, those two have been here longer. They do have more big moments, so I understand it. But you're right. Like. They will get around. They'll get something. You know what I mean? And they're not going to be booed or nothing like that.
Exactly.
It'll be nice, but I think the fanfare.
But I think that's important, Chris, because Steve's point about people being pricks online. We could do chapter and verse. We do it all the time. That's never going to be reflected in the ground.
It wouldn't. Yeah. No, of course it won't. There's no way anyone's going to see Naby Keita walking around and not be clapping him. It's just not what Anfield's like, is it?
They've all been part of the success, haven't they, in their own little way somewhere. So, like, they've all been part of it, some more than others.
Both of those two have scored in Champions League quarterfinals. Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain. I mean, they both scored big goals for Liverpool, and it's not their fault. I don't think either of them were crap. Mm-hmm. They were both just injured all the time. You know, there's a difference. If someone turns up and it's just absolute stinks the place out, Christian Benteke, like you said before, and they just get shipped on, then there's not going to be fanfare. But the Chamberlain Naby thing is they were just hurt all the time, and you can't really blame them for that. When they played and they've got runs in the side, they were both pretty good.
But Oxlade-Chamberlain's different to Keita as well. I don't think it's the same arguments. Ultimately, it comes down to injuries, but one was really injury prone and one was just never the same player after a massive injury. Yeah. Like Oxlade-Chamberlain was a part of this side, was a big integral part of who we were in that sort of 17-18 counter-attacking Liverpool side, wasn't he? Mm-hmm. And he could have, sliding doors moments, he doesn't pick that injury, he might still be in the side. Yeah. You just never know with a player like that, do you? And what he could go on to achieve if he'd not got that injury. So, and also it takes time to get back. We've seen from Virgil van Dijk, I don't think Virgil's been the same really until the last few weeks post his injury. Oxlade-Chamberlain was never given that chance because the team moved on. Yeah. And they had to. They needed to. So he never got back into the side, never got to prove that he was back to the player that he was pre-injury. He may never have got there, but he never got the chance to either.
It's not just the physical though, is it? It's mentally, like, we've got no idea what they're going through.
No.
Once they're injured, like we've all had an injury and that, but it's the mental side of it, what they must have gone through.
Wondering whether you can get back to there.
Well, yeah, wondering if I'll ever get back to that, will I ever play again, will I ever be there, will I be in the team? That's massive, and that's a massive part of recovery as well. And I think a lot of people forget that when they're moaning and going on, don't they?
I found it interesting.
And missing
as well.
big games as well.
Massive, yeah.
I found it interesting, like Liverpool announced it as well. Like now, like I might be wrong, but like I remember Emre Can was leaving, but like he didn't get the. He played in that final and was gone.
Left on a free transfer, didn't he? The prick.
Yeah,
But
but I think
that's exactly. I don't know.
A proper, like a prearranged.
Yeah,
It was already. Yeah.
Oh,
I think there is a reason for this, and I think it's a good reason, to be honest. And I think it was probably because they knew they were going for a start. They knew that it was all going to be Bobby, regardless of whether that tweet comes out.
Yeah.
And they wanted to give that love to the other three players.
No, and I think it's brilliant because the Wijnaldum one was the same. They never really announced Wijnaldum. It was just at the end of the game. They all start doing the stuff. Oh, well, he's definitely off. We all thought he was going, but it wasn't Liverpool announced. We all knew he was going somewhere. This one's different. Like they've done it, and I think you're right. I think they saw what happened at Leicester and thought it can't just be the Bobby Firmino show. Like James Milner deserves a little bit these two as well. It can't just be all one. And I think that's right as well. Like it will be the Firmino song, but it should be all of them.
They'll have learned lessons from those ones previously as well. They'll have learned from Mane, and they'll have learned from. I mean, the Mane one is hard because he's doing Champions League build-up interviews and stuff, and saying I'll talk about my future after the Champions League final. Champions League final's over, and he's over, and it's done, and he's having to do videos to say goodbye and all that kind of stuff, isn't he? Whereas it feels like they've had their dry run was Wijnaldum and Mane and a few others, and they've gone okay, well, and Jürgen, he's a sentimental fella when it comes down to it at times. He wants to make sure they feel like they're part and they're remembered, they take their place. And I said this, Ox and Keita, look. No one's building a statue for either of them. They're not getting murals. They're not getting these things because that just wasn't their standing in the squad. But you made your points. They've both given me moments where I've jumped up and down on the cop or in a ways and stuff. They've given me moments of joy as Liverpool players. You know, there's lads who played in the 80s and the 70s who weren't Kenny Dalglish and Ian Rush or John Tosh. You know, the stars of that team, but are rightly regarded for their place in history. Hopefully, this is part of them getting that.
It's interesting. Like, just on a side point, it's like. There's some big shirt numbers up for grabs.
Ooh.
7, 8, 9, 10, all ready for someone to go on.
Did you forget what come after?
I was unsure what number Mo Salah was.
I think at this point I should say something along the lines of, isn't that a step song?
Yeah.
Maybe tragedy. Yeah. I think is what I tried to say last time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But that it kind of goes to show, doesn't it? Like Bobby Firmino was the number 9, like Oxlade-Chamberlain, the number 2. You know what I mean? Like they have got different stands in the squad, and Naby, the number 8's going, and Naby, when he first came, the issue what happened, and I don't know if it was his fault per se, but the hype around him, there's not been a transfer as hyped.
Well, that's because there's never been a transfer that we signed a year after we signed.
But
we got a year after, a year of watching him in Germany be brilliant, and then weird stuff going on with his red cards and getting sent out the squad.
Steven
and all
Gerrard
this type
hands
of
the 8
stuff.
over and stuff.
Oh my days, it was far too hyped, and he was boss, and he should have been boss.
And that's almost been the problem with him, isn't it, John? Is that I think that hype is a couple of things. There's the fact that both of them have been injured, so when people have got complaints around Liverpool's midfield and availabilities and all that, then you can't help but look at Oxlade-Chamberlain and Naby Keita. But in Chris's point there, we spent £50 million on him, we chased him for ages, we finally got him, and he was the same player on day one as he was on his last day. You were as likely to get him play on the pitch and have a good game as he was to just not be available. And the weight of that number 8 shirt and everything, he should have been better, but we've done our own heads in, I think, by expecting him to be
on a pedestal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But you're going to do that with everyone. As soon as someone's got a little bit of a name for themselves, football fans are going to hype them up. They're going to. That's what they always do, and sometimes they live up to it. Like he has, you know what I mean? He's still been a boss player. Sometimes they don't. But
Keita had more Twitter accounts and Twitter fans with his name and his picture on before he'd signed for Liverpool than any other player that's ever moved. It's ridiculous. If you ever said anything that wasn't absolute praise, like he was God,
or horrendous, or proper say he's the worst player to ever play. The most polarising footballer.
Oh yeah,
I've
I
seen.
know a few of them on Twitter as well.
Yeah.
You're in trouble if you just mention his name on Twitter, because someone's going to take a dislike to you.
He is a big disappointment for me. You know, he will be, and it's a shame. And that's the big missed opportunity. And I feel that with Ox, because, as you say, if he doesn't get the cruciate injury...
He's got Perry, though, he's fine.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
He might not have a statue, but he's got Perry.
That TikTok he did during lockdown with him dancing up the stairs, you know what I mean?
Splendid.
First rate. But again, he's a brilliant fella. He's got to have a career doing whatever the hell he wants, because he's such a good talker, he's such a good guy, and he's a brilliant footballer as well, I think. And it's a shame. I think he'd be playing regularly for a good Premier League team.
He takes over all of Jermaine Genius's gigs.
Welcome to the
One
one show.
show.
Chamberlain.
Why not? All of the Match of the Day X. Anything Jermaine Genius is on, Oxlade-Chamberlain's best.
There's going to be an Ox and Perry podcast somewhere. It's nailed on, isn't it? It's going to be number one on BBC Sounds. Yeah,
Crouching Abbey can get in the bit. No one's asked. Like,
The new power couple coming in.
Yeah, definitely. But that's it. You know, Ox has got lots of other things going for him. But yeah, the Cater stuff is just such a shame, because he was brilliant. He should have been transformative. He had the ability. When he got on the pitch, and he thinks and it's a random example, but at the Leicester quarter-final at the League Cup last season, and he comes on, and you're like, yeah, that lad, you know, he's brilliant. He set up with I think it's the first goal, the first goal against Monterrey in the Club World Cup. Yeah, so yeah, I think he's involved with another one as well in around that. He's just a good footballer, but he's the best. He's the example of the everything that was wrong with the recruitment and wrong with the way Liverpool have kind of managed. You know, and there's not many examples of it, but he's a high-profile signing that went wrong. We didn't get many signings wrong in that period, but he will sadly be remembered, I think, more for that. Not that he should, you know, it shouldn't be in a hugely negative way. It is what it is. I enjoyed him. Thought he was a decent player. Wish he'd been more for us, but life's a shithouse. He'll move on and probably have a fine career of doing exactly the same at some other club.
As you say, it's not that he was a bad player, it was just that he was never fit. And that's what Liverpool needed more than anything over the last year, certainly 2 years, you could say. But certainly the last season. I mean, the problem I think he's got in terms of being remembered is people will probably remember him more for being hooked at half-time in games that were big games, that you really needed your midfielder to step up, and he was never able to do that.
It's a shame, because like he played like that City semi-final, he was brilliant, like he was unbelievable, and that's the sad thing for me, is that he should have been like what Roberto Firmino is, because I think he's that talented. I just don't blame him. It's not his fault that he got injured all the time. Like, maybe it is. I mean, maybe he doesn't look after himself. But do you get what I'm saying?
Well, we had this with Sturridge, though, didn't we? Where like everyone used to get angry with Daniel Sturridge for being injured, like a professional footballer who's raised his entire life, his dreams are to play at that level, then can't because of injury.
There was a difference with that, though, because remember when Klopp came out with Sturridge and started saying things like sometimes you need to.
The difference between pain and real pain was what he used very early on. Yeah, and he
threw Sturridge under the bus there with that one, didn't he?
Big time.
But I don't think either. I think those two know. You know what I mean? Like, with all due respect, like, everyone knows their placing pecking orders in everything. You know what I mean? If someone says to me, you know, Redmen TV, do you think of you two before do you think of me? That's just life. You know what I mean? You have been doing it longer, you're better at it. That's life. Yeah. And if we all left at the same time, it would be different. And I understand that. And that doesn't mean I've been absolutely fucking garbage, but I'd like to. But you know what I mean? That's just life. Everyone's got their place in orders, and Kate and Ox will know that. They'll know Bobby Firmino and James Milner are legends of Liverpool. They're just players.
Someone's got to be the Lucas Leiva and Momo Sissoko in the best midfield in the world.
Yeah, and Firmino and Milner are legends, and Chamberlain and Kate are lads who play for Liverpool. There's a.
Yeah. At least they know it. Like on Saturday, they're not going to be like, oh my God, like shocked. They know, don't they?
And also, I think Liverpool, that's what Chris goes back to, Liverpool done them a favour.
Exactly.
Because they've got no attention, because no one would have been asked. But now, because you know, there's almost a sense of duty, and rightly so, that you should be giving them the flowers a little bit as well.
They'll walk around the pitch, we'll clap, you know what I mean? They'll get that in some way. They just haven't got the song. Yeah, the family will be there, it will.
They'll get the photos, and I agree.
And it's always sunny on the last day of the season, so towards that.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
If it rains now, it's your fault.
It's not my fault, it's Kate's fault.
No, it is, you've done it.
Brought the dark clouds with him.
Yeah, no, it's great. As you say, and the fact that it's planned, I mean, you don't have to. No one has to worry about like looking at their body language to figure out more. They get to have they're not trying to hide anything. They can just embrace it. They can soak up every moment, enjoy it, and it's cool. We should look back fondly on all these. I've said this plenty of times. There's no need for hate of Liverpool players. It's just wasted. It's wasted negative energy. There's plenty of loathsome people in this country to be diverting your energy towards, not footballers whose job it is to go out and try and deliver happiness to you. People are asking in the live show chat
Ready to sing that.
about Newcastle and Brighton. By the way, it kicked off 4 minutes ago, and I'll keep you up to date as and when. There you go. Thanks, Joe. That was a wonderful seamless transition there. But yeah, if we know more stuff on that, we'll keep you up.
I've got Flash score on my phone as well.
Well done. Other apps are available.
If Flash go want to pay us, then there's not. If they don't, then yeah, there is.
Absolutely. Right, quality. We're going to take a very, very short break, and when we return, we will be basically working out and ranking Liverpool's priorities in the summer transfer window. Stay tuned. Hey, what's happening? We have got our huge, our mega, our extravagant end of season party coming up and available for ticket sale right now. Do you like what we do on the podcast, on the shows, on the match days, on the watch-alongs? Then come and see us live and in the flesh with live music by the full band of the Ragamuffins as well. Yes, the Reds have been in a tricky season, shall we say the very least. But you know what? Let's see the season out in style with a Redmen TV party for the ages. We're going to be at Hotel Anfield on the 19th of May. That is the Friday night. Get your babysitters booked and come and party with us to drown the season's sorrows or celebrate a successful end. Whichever way it goes, we will be there with you. Let's have a laugh. Tickets on sale right now. The link will be in the description. I hope to see you there. Hey, welcome back to Thursday Night Pint. We're going to be doing another ranking show. We are going to be looking at Liverpool's transfer priorities and putting them in order from most to least. Now, just to break this down in a little bit more detail, we've got some players on the cards as per normal. Is that a goal, Steve?
That's my mum.
Then put your fucking phone on mute.
It was on mute. It was on vibrate. It's also me, ma.
That's vibrate and mute at a different setting. Think about it.
All right, so let's talk about the footy. Go on.
Go on, answer to your mum.
No,
You can't ignore
No,
your
you've got. I want you to ring her back now.
absolutely not.
Ring her back now.
I'm not
I want
ringing-
Jane on the phone now.
No, go away. My jeans and then my ma. Anything else? Oh,
I'll phone her.
Do that again. Welcome back to Thursday Night Pint. We're going to be ranking Liverpool's transfer priorities this summer. I've got some players for illustrative purposes. We can talk about those players, but we're focusing mainly upon the positions themselves. Our assembled cast here are going to have to use the rankings board.
No, I thought we'll get a week off the rankings board.
Just watch the fingers on the top of it because I don't know.
Smudgy
Smudgy McGee over there.
I've enjoyed Thursday Night Pint. One bit of feedback is, can we figure out a better way of doing this?
You've both got your Rafa Nadal arm. Oh yeah. And the little flick of the camera.
No, you got it on still.
Yes. Bring it over.
Oh, damn it. Okay, one more time.
Immortalised forever and ever. Love it. You sexy bastards. Right. So, I'm going to put some names out. The considerations are, I think, generally speaking, I don't think Liverpool are going to buy. We've got 5 ranking places. I don't think Liverpool are going to buy. Probably not going to buy 5 players this summer. I think
they will.
You think they'll?
I think they will buy 5.
Okay. I think 4 feels about right.
I think they're going to... Yeah, okay.
And we'll come to that. As ever, there can only be one in number 1. You can put as many as you want in the other slots, but there's one that is the ultimate priority. And then we'll work our way down from them. So I'm going to start with right-sided centre-half. Mm-hmm. Now, this is Julian Timber. It had to be done, and I really wish I hadn't done it.
No, it got the response it deserved.
Like there was no one in the woods to hear fall. I think we finally answered that question.
Someone tells a shit joke in the one it doesn't make a noise.
Yeah, I got 100%. That's everything that I deserved for committing that to the world and more. Yes, right side of centre half. So thinking about it, you know, someone who's doing what Ibu Konate is doing for Liverpool right now, and that's why I say Timber's in there because he's sort of that. But I mean, look, he could probably fit in Konate's pocket. He could fit in one of his socks, so not a straight comparison.
It's the position, not the player.
Yeah,
is what you're trying
but
to
you
say.
can talk about Timber as if you wish.
Okay, so I think we need one because I think they might sell Joel Matip, but it's not a first team player. I think there are going to be other things that come up that where players who Liverpool need to make the first team better. I don't think we're going to sign a right centre back who makes the first team better because I don't think there's anyone, unless anyone can disagree, anyone who's better than Ibu. Would you? No one. We wouldn't replace Ibu with any at the moment, would you?
I don't think we're going to sign a right side of centre half.
Okay.
So we think, but if
So
you
don't think it's a priority. So right now, by that logic, you're happy with Konate and let's say Joe Gomez as the options for right centre back going into the new season.
I wouldn't say I'm happy with it because I think they're both a little bit injury prone.
Well, Matip, same.
I think Matip will go. I think Matip will
Don't
go.
you think there's? Or do you think they might sign a left one?
I think they'll sign the left one.
Oh, interesting.
That's me anyway.
What would you prefer, Chris? A left or a right one?
It depends because Robbo's proved that he can do this,
We've got a left here.
like hybrid sort of centre back, left back role. So that they're probably even for me, to be honest with you, because I think Robbo's proved that he can do it, but I think there are better options. I'm not sure there's a better option for Konate.
That's interesting.
Do you know what I mean? Like a Gvardiol or something, I think is a better option for a left-sided centre-half / left back when we go to that 3 than a backup right back is. But then I think Liverpool would probably like to sign the cheaper option, which would be the right-sided centre-back who's not going to play every single week. It's there.
Jan, if you were buying a player to play in Liverpool's defence, whereabouts would they be fitting in? Van Dijk understudy, let's say Robertson-ish understudy.
Probably Van Dijk.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. Just
Not a Phillips fan then.
Well, yeah, but I'm just thinking because obviously, like we all know, since Van Dijk got injured, he's not been the same since he come back. Whether that's a physical or a mental thing, we all know that. Plus, players aging, aren't they? So that's just I'm thinking logical there.
I think it's an interesting point, John, is that, you know, Chris has made this point for a few weeks about, like, at some point we're going to have to start considering Mo Salah, and I'm sure we'll talk about that in a minute. But Van Dijk, you know,
Is he 33?
30...
Or is he 33 at the start of next season?
Yeah, Van Dijk and Salah are the ones who are so good that you can deal with them aging out a bit because they're still going to be better than the vast majority of people. But it's an interesting point. At some point, we are going to have to consider how do you have Van Dijk on the pitch less? Because if he's on the pitch less, he's better when he is on it.
I know, but I haven't got a clue.
It's sort of, I suppose, is it more future-proofing yourself, getting an understudy in that might be ready in 2 or 3?
Yeah, obviously, but I don't know. I don't think this season they're going to be doing that. I think they're going to be looking more on the right side because when they're wanting to move trend up.
That's my thinking as well. I think they're going to sell Matip.
They're going to move more. Someone who's on the right side that can fill in Sen's place when he's moving up the field more.
I think they'll use Gomez on the left underneath Van Dijk, and I think they'll sell Matip and then want to buy. If they were going to do it,
here's a question: why? And I'd not really considered this, but couldn't Matip just play Van Dijk's role in this 3 at the back?
Could do.
Yeah, but
because it sends. We're all worried about Matip playing on that right because of the space and the pace that he's got. Use him as Van Dijk's back up.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
We have to rank these two though.
Can't get injured if you don't play, surely.
Yeah. Yes. That's how Darwin
Famous
Nunes.
last
Darwin
name.
Nunes did that the other day.
Yeah, hang on. Have you seen any of the press conferences this season?
Have you seen Liverpool all year?
So we don't, at the moment, we're putting what?
Both of them are 3.
Wow, I mean, this is going completely against your normal way you do things.
Yeah, what are you doing today? You put them in 1.
Yeah, well, no, because I know that's just a waste of my time. Because there's going to be a centre midfielder there later.
So you're putting centre halves middle tier priority for now.
For now. I don't know the other positions.
I mean, it's every other position apart from
there's 11 of them.
Fullbacks. What?
Okay, it's gonna be a long segment. This
defensive midfielder.
Oh, that goes above that for me. I don't think Liverpool are going to sign a defensive midfielder out and out number 6. they probably should. So I
mean, I think
That's
we're
a
hearing
Garte.
rumours that we're not getting a Garte anyway.
I don't think it's rumours anymore. I think Liverpool have just flat out come out and said it. But someone like him, I think we're all loving Fabinho at the minute, but he wasn't the same. And is Henderson the number 6 backup now if it's not Fabinho?
Bajcetic as well.
Bajcetic.
Are we past that Henderson in the
Well,
sixth
yeah,
thing?
that's what I'm thinking. I think they could. I would rather have a new DM than a new centre back. I think you could make. I think a new DM could get in the team.
This is the thing. I'll pose the question to the guests. Fabinho, would you be keeping him for another season and maybe buying someone to take a little bit of time off him, or having seen him this season, do you think Liverpool need to cut the losses and get rid and get someone just to come in and replace him?
I'd probably let him go. Like I said, I'm not as sentimental as you.
Yeah, we can
guys. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think
John's letting Salah go.
Look at defensive midfielders and that. It's something that, because the way this season's gone, something that we've missed. And we think, oh, we need that. But I don't think they're going to do that next season. I think they're going to go back to attacking, and they're going to want to bring someone in for the back so they can push the sense up. That's going to bring some more balls in from midfield. So I don't think they're going to go for a defensive midfielder. I think they'll go more in defence and just push the sense up there.
I think personally, I don't know if you guys agree. I think there's scope for. Oh, bloody hell, mate! Took me.
Graphic there, you.
There's scope for me to get a defensive midfielder into the team. I think you could upgrade on Fabinho, and I think at worst there has to be a second option. Like I say, it might be Bajcetic, but then there's also like the roles changed since Bajcetic was playing in there. It's different. He might actually be Trent Alexander-Arnold's understudy, doing the legging it round bit. You know what I mean? And even he could be Curtis Jones' understudy, where he does more about it. I think you could. There are a few places where Liverpool can get better as a first team, and I still think that's probably one of them.
Yeah.
I think
This is my point today. I think if you take it with just that viewpoint of how the Liverpool improve their first team, not their squad, left-sided centre-half in this new hybrid system is one of them, I think. Love Robbo. Really hope he gets the opportunity to prove me wrong on this. But left-sided centre-half, a specialist, a DM, 2 8s. They're the 4 positions I think you can improve on right now for us. Mm-hmm. And they would be my priority. I don't think we can fill 4 first-teamers and pay the money for 4 first-teamers this summer.
Yeah.
That's where I start to get a bit like, where'd you prioritise?
We'll swing round to those positions again in a second. I want to throw one in that's a bit of a random one, but it's something that needs addressing, maybe. Goalkeeper. So that we've talked about all the players who are going to be leaving at the end of the season. They were named Keita, Milner, Oxlade-Chamberlain and Roberto Firmino. But no mention of Adrian, because rumours are they're going to try and convince him to sign a new contract. Kelleher, the question then on this one is, what are you doing? Are you just keeping... Are you trying to convince Caoimhin Kelleher to stay for another year, or based on what, a handful of cup games again? Do you take this opportunity to loan him out and cash in on him? And if that's the case, do you need to go and buy a goalkeeper in the summer?
my thinking is they don't need one now, but if Kelleher goes, Adrian can't be the number 2.
Yeah.
So then they will need one. If he stays, he has to be third choice. So right now, it's not a priority because I think we've got one of, if not the best backup goalies you can have. But the second he leaves, you can't say, Adrian, you're next in line if Alisson goes down for 10 games.
Agree, yeah.
What's your thoughts on Kelleher?
I love him. I think he's boss. I'd be gutted if he went when them rumours are flying around that he might be going. Yeah, I'd be gutted. I think he's a boss backup. But you get it from his point of view, don't you?
He wants games.
You want games. You don't always want to be the backup. But then, how long's Alisson got left? It's one of them.
5-10 years, maybe.
No, you know what I mean with us.
Genuinely has.
Nobody, you know what I mean. Like, you never know that they might want to move on as well. But I think we should keep him. But I agree, if we get rid of him, we can't have had.
But is it fair to say we
this
put him
stage,
low for
yeah.
now, and with the caveat that if Kelleher goes, it shoots.
You know who's
pretty
coming
high
next,
up.
don't you?
I hope
Saving
it's
number one
I hope it's sent to mid, yeah. But no, you know what I mean. Like
The Kelleher one's an interesting one as well because you've got essentially a saleable asset as a backup goalkeeper that never gets a game.
Yeah.
That when you are scraping round, and you know that unfortunately no one wants FSG to be scraping round for loads of money, but they are and they do.
Yeah.
Kelleher is a saleable
It's
asset.
20 to 25, maybe even more £1 million sat there.
it's a bit of,
like we got Thiago for that. Like
True.
when you think of it like that, when you can get a genuine like,
Yeah.
you know, I think we probably undervalued Thiago a little bit, played him and stuff, but like Sadio Mane went for not far above that.
The only problem I'd say with all of this is the last time we let our backup goalie leave, our first choice goalie got injured in the first game of the season.
No, true. But
And
like,
Adrian played the first 9 games.
and he was brilliant. So that was the year we won the league, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So he was brilliant then. There was other problems when Adrian came in other games in that season. But like for me, I would be really tempted to sell Kelleher, and I think he's brilliant. I don't think we're getting a better backup goalie, but I also do think that 20-30 million quid would be a big help and could improve the first team, not the bench.
Yeah.
And I think that's important for us right now. And I suppose the other sort of thing on that is, I think you'd have to be canny with him. I think you do put something in a clause in that you get first right, and maybe you talk to Queven and say, look, we're letting you go. We don't want to let you go, but we appreciate that you want a football career and you don't want to be a backup, but we really love you. We hope you've enjoyed your time here. We gave you games when you were the backup goalie. We want you back in a few years if everything's going all right.
There is something as well where if Liverpool are in the Europa League next season, I think it's easier to convince Kelleher to stick around because he's the Europa League goalie. Yeah. And
Well, you do a 2-year loan thing.
Yeah.
Well, I was about to say, what you could do is give him a new contract, loan him, and so what you could say to him then is, you know, he's worth 20 now. He's worth 20 million. I haven't played 20 games of footy. If he goes and has 38 Premier League games and smashes it,
That's 58 million.
Well, if it's every game, $1 million a game. Just loan him out for 100 games, and then he's the most expensive player ever. But I think he's better than a £20 million goalkeeper. It's that you can't
Should
get
be 40.
but you can't get it because
So it's not a priority until Liverpool make a decision on Kelleher. Okay, that's fair. Right, centre forwards. I don't think this is a priority at all.
Who went with FOR for centre forward?
4. Yeah.
I went for FWD.
Yeah.
Never mind anyway. Now, I don't, centre forward can't be a priority.
It's not someone that's played like any computer games or football, is it? It wasn't a football fan that did that.
Yeah.
No one's abbreviating forward to 4.
Anyway. The not bottom, do we think? No priority at all?
I think we've got enough attacking players.
See, I don't think Klopp can resist another left winger. Fucking gonna get
like
someone
me.
in a left wing.
Klopp, he's like me in the Asda going through the sweet aisle, and the Haribo just catch me eye, and I think, for fuck's sake, I've done it again. Just can't help it. Yeah,
I've got one bag already.
Kids, put another bag of Haribo in. Don't tell me.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, we've got Victor Osimhen there as one. I think. A question though on the. We've obviously got Cody Gakpo who's settled. It looks like the first choice in the number 9. We've got Darwin Núñez who feels like a little bit of an ill fit. Is there anyone here who would be cashing in on or cutting the losses on Darwin Núñez, let's say, and trying to get him with someone else?
I've loved the way he's been playing, but it's maybe not as a number 9, but he's still causing havoc when he's on the pitch if he's not scoring. I mean, I think next year get a few goals early in the season and he might just go on a mad run and just be scoring 2 a game, you know what I mean? You don't know.
Okay. I'm going to throw one more outside shouting, and I've used Sadio Mane for illustrative purposes because Bayern Munich want rid, and I also know there are some people who would jump at the chance to see Sadio back at Liverpool.
But what does it
Club.
say?
Winger.
What does it say?
WNG.
Wow.
The only reason you say maybe is because you need someone who can back up Mo Salah. We haven't really got another right winger.
Yeah.
It's Harvey Elliott and that's it. But again, we're not good enough to buy squad players. We need to make the first team better. The last thing in years gone by, you could just buy like little spruce up your bench, but we're not that good. Okay. So I'd probably put that down the bottom as well. You guys.
Where are we? I can't see the board, mate.
Take out, Chris.
Have we got any more positions to come?
We've got 3 more to come.
Okay.
Technically 2, but
I like that.
We'll have that debate.
That's good.
Attacking midfielder. Got Mason Mount as this.
Get it at number 1.
You think attacking midfielder. So just for you, which one is that? Is
Both
that the left?
of them.
Or is that where Curtis is playing or where Hendo's playing?
Both of them. Both attacking midfielders for me.
Okay.
He's comes into the team where Jordan Henderson's been playing on the right. For me, Mason Mount. And just legs it everywhere. Gives it the legs that they desperately need. And he's got double-digit goals and assists. We haven't really got... Curtis Jones might be that because he's started to get on the end of things and stuff, but none of my midfielders score. And listen, I understand it because we've got loads of attackers and that's brilliant, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I do think we could do with a more dynamic. Like, I know people are down on Mason Mount. I think he'd be a good signing, but I think the two positions that it's number 8. I think is in this system.
I think this is the one where I think Jordan's been brilliant. I think you can see how Curtis Jones fits just from his last few performances. Jordan, I'm still waiting to do something. You know what I mean? Like, get some more assists or score some more goals. He seems like he's still doing a lot of work for a lot of other things, but I don't know whether that's meant or if we just plugged Mason Mount in, is he going to score a dozen goals in that formation? I've got no idea.
Don't know. Can someone pass us that tactics board so I can explain what the question? In fact, I'll just go and get it. I don't mind.
Yeah. We've got 2 more positions which we will do in due.
That's brilliant.
Right. What I wanted to explain, to answer your question, I'm going to put it that way round. Right. That's how Liverpool are setting up now. The 3, the 2, the 2 and the 3.
Mm-hmm.
The whole philosophy of what Liverpool are doing so far now is you get 5 attackers and you get 5 defenders, essentially. So they're your centre-backs, they're your 2 midfielders, and then you make 5 attackers. So when your question is which midfielder's the attacker, they're both the attackers.
Got you.
It's a whole 5v5, that's what we're trying to achieve.
So,
And Mount's more likely to score than Henderson.
to add it in, and I've put Alexis McAllister as this, but again, what this is centre mid. So I'm thinking Gini Wijnaldum replacement in that regard. It's someone who's not a DM, is not a 10-plus goal a season attacking midfielder, and again, this might not be Alexis McAllister, but the point is someone who's sits in the middle of the park. Do we think we need?
I don't think we
one of
have
these?
that in our system.
Yeah.
Is where I think.
Do we in 4-3-3?
Yeah, absolutely.
But we don't think we think we're.
If we're playing for, if you want tactical flexibility, someone like Alexis McAllister's a good fit because he can do both. He's played in the double pivot. He's played further forward as an 8. He started his career as a 10 for Argentinos Junior. So this is a lad who can do all 3 of those positions, and everyone can, you can switch between this new WM formation and the 4-3-3 formation at will then. But I don't think Klopp's going to do that. I think Klopp is just going to stick with what's been working.
I think he sees Alexis McAllister doing what Curtis Jones does.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the last one then is a hybrid footballer. Gravenberch is the example of someone who can play DM but also do the other midfield stuff.
Hendo 4 years ago.
Yes. And if you had to choose, do we need someone who does that? Because this goes back to the 6 thing. If we think we're not going to buy a number 6, an out-and-out number 6, is it more of a priority that we buy someone who is a dyed-in-the-wool destroyer in the 6, or is it someone who can do a bit of that?
I think what they would like to do is get someone who can do a bit of both. So I think I've got that for now, but I reckon in theory I'm going to move the DM down. If you've got someone who can play in there, I think ideally it would be whoever we sign. I think we're going to sign 3 midfielders, and it would be someone who can go in there, but also can do the other jobs as well. So I reckon I would put that as a higher priority than just an out and out. Yeah.
Is there any position that you guys have thought in the last few weeks or months or all this season thought I'd give anything for it? It could be literally be a player or whatever. I mean, let's say it was Jude Bellingham, for example.
He was number 1, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was one of that.
What is he?
Either in this system, what we're doing now, either been doing the Jones or the Henderson.
Hendo's position, but he can do either side. I think.
Anything to add? Anything you want to change? Anything you want to straighten?
So hang on a minute, right? I think we need 2 of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where they're my number 1 priorities. 2 attacking midfielders. Yeah, a mix of that. So probably one versatile midfielder.
Our centre back. Yeah.
And a goalkeeper. Yeah.
I think
You think we need a goalkeeper and let Kelleher go?
I don't
think
think
they
this
will.
season, maybe next season.
I think they will.
I think we're going to sign
Next
5
season.
players.
That makes sense. If you
Yeah.
move around another year.
I think they're going to sign 3 midfielders, a centre half, and a goalie. That's why I said before 5, because 2 of those are replacements. Because I think Matip and Keller are going to go, and I think they're going to buy 3 midfielders to replace the 3 we're getting off. And they're going to buy 3 where now Keita, Milner, and Ox are understudies. they buy 3 first-team players, and Jones, Henderson, maybe Fabinho, Thiago. I mean, Thiago's different. He'll play if he's fit, but again, back to the Keita argument. But they all go down the pecking order. That's why I don't think it's a coincidence that the 3 on there, 3 that go straight into the team. The others would be backup/rotation options.
What would your signings be? What do you think Liverpool will do this summer?
So I'd go probably back up, right back, and probably 2 midfield, 2 attacking midfield. I'd go only because I think Klopp's going to try and want to go back a couple of seasons to when they're just fucking
You
scoring.
think that 4-3-3?
Yeah. So I think that's what I'd do. But
I think there'll be games when he does that, definitely. Yeah. What about you, Jay? Who do you think Liverpool will sign, positions-wise?
I mean, I haven't got a clue. The way everything's going at the minute, it's like I wish that this social media doesn't exist, you know, because I hate rumours. Like, I just think it spoils it. Like, it all just it's rumours. Oh, I say this and I say this, and I'm like, fuck off, you don't.
Getting your hopes up.
Yeah, it's like when we signed Fabinho, like, no, it was like surprise. Like, that's what you love, all this rumours, and then we don't, and everyone's like, oh my god, he's coming, and then we don't get them, and then everyone's like,
I like surprises, just hate being told I'm getting a surprise. That's what the problem with Liverpool transfer is when you know you're getting someone, and then you go, oh, but it could be this, and it could be this, and it could be this, and then it's this, and you're like, oh. But I in my head, it's like when I remember doing this with my son, picking him up from school, and I told him that I'd bought him a Disney car, and I showed it to him, and he burst out crying because it wasn't a Disney car that he'd invented in his head. Yeah. And that's Liverpool's transfer coverage.
But we definitely, I'll agree there with like number 1 attacking midfielder, definitely.
I agree with that. I think the midfielders have got to be right up there, because I think the spend's gone in on the attack, and you might something might crop up that gives you the ability to do something. I think the others are situations that will arise depending on what happens. If you get a good bid for Matt, if you get a good bid for Kelleher, and then you make your decisions based on that. We've had some super chats while we've been doing this. Liam Bento, and Steve touched upon this on earlier in the show, but so with the squad numbers coming around, should Trent take up the legendary 7 or 8 shirt, or should he make 66 equally legendary?
I think he'll keep 66.
I think he should keep it and be himself, and
There's loads of 7s. There's loads of the Kenny 7 and Gerrard's 8, and every number 9 in the world's a number 9.
I think he picked that 66 purposely for that.
I mean, it's just the crop he came through in it. It wasn't like Ben Woodburn, wasn't he, like 58
yeah,
or something
but like,
around the time?
If you're Trent and you're his age and you're looking up to Steven Gerrard pretty much your entire life when you get into the side, don't you want his number?
We said this before. I mean, you're right, he can make 66 mean something.
Yeah, but now he's playing in midfield.
Yeah. Well, maybe that was the point.
You can't go, oh, can I have it? I'm a right back.
Well, he's playing in a double pivot, so he's technically 2 6s, but he plays a lot with Fabinho's laughing. I think I would like to see him take one of them numbers, because I loathe stupid squad numbers, and I think 66 is a stupid
7 for your right back, wow.
Well, Milner was left back at 7, wasn't he, for God knows how long. You know, that was another one that's been a wild shout. Has he got? Would you take? Who wants to take 8 though?
I'd rather give it to Trent than anybody else.
Yeah.
Anyone who we're going to sign, I'd rather Trent have that instead of Keita.
I'd still like him to keep the 66.
I would.
I like it.
Make his own legacy.
Point of view though, but that's
the man with no nostalgia whatsoever wanted to keep 66.
Make his own legacy, isn't it? So stop trying to be like, oh, you've took Gerrard's number. No, mate, this is my number.
Yeah. I blame the Anfield Raps mural for painting that 66 on after one good season.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, he's
can't change it now.
Yeah. I mean, we know someone who could, you know, go and do a touch-up on that. But go and change it to 8, right? When you go back to finish Bobby off.
Do your midnight thing when you go round tonight.
Just I'll give you some red emulsion, and then we'll start again on that and see if we can like inception it for him. Yeah, I think it's an interesting point, if nonetheless. Yeah. Just on Chris's wonderful ninja move, Scott Hawke said, I almost expected Chris to whip off the shirt. Hopefully we'll have a good reason on the last day of the season. McAllister is far more creative than I think we give him credit for. He can do everything, he says. And then also says, off topic, you might have already looked into it, but you should look into Streamlabs as your super chat handler for streams. Thanks, mate. Still get the notifications, but you don't get to give YouTube a cut. That would be wonderful. Do you want to come and sort that out for us, mate? That would be
I've got Streamlabs. This is how we do the streaming. I'll look into that, Scott. Nice one.
And John Francis says, is Jones the new Lallana?
What does that mean?
I can read the question again, but I have no
What's he
further
trying
insight
to?
'cause
What
it's
do you
not my
think the
question.
context around that is? Is he saying that
Skills and goals.
I don't think it's that. I think it's he didn't like Lallana and thinks Jones is a bit like Lallana. I don't know.
See, is that glass half full? That's your glass half
I don't know.
empty?
I don't know. It depends because I like
Do you
Lallana and I
think
think
it's-
Jones is. But if I answer him and he doesn't like Lallana,
Stop trying to read deeper into the question. Do you think he's the new Lallana?
I do not think he's the new Lallana.
Why, Chris?
He's forging his own legacy like St. Paul.
Steve McManamum's number.
Curtis Jones would take 8 tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah.
He'd have 7, 8, 9 and 10.
Honestly, Curtis Jones, I not yeah, he would. He'd have it tomorrow. Absolutely. I'm fair play to him as well.
Absolutely brilliant. Right, Sal, we're going to take another break. Thank you so much for getting your thoughts in. If you've got any answers to the rankings, then do let us know in the comments section underneath. And when we return, we're going to be previewing the final game of the season at Anfield. Hey everyone, what's happening? We've got an incredible prize to give away this month. It is a signed picture and frame of Liverpool's 3-time European Cup winning former captain, the man, the legend, Phil Thompson. Yes, if you join up as a Club Legend subscriber on redmenplus.com, or if you're an existing Club Captain subscriber and wish to upgrade, your name will go in the hat at the end of the month to win that incredible signed prize. Bang it on your mantelpiece, stick it on the wall of your man cave or woman cave, and add to your incredible Liverpool collection with this wonderful piece of LFC memorabilia.
People have done horrible things with my face.
From the gallery.
my God!
Oh God.
Actually, yeah, no, that's not.
Is that why you got a new car?
That's exactly why I got a new car, to get the smell of out of my nostrils.
I wasn't ready for you to look at me for approval. You know what I mean?
You've had a nightmare.
As long as you went hard.
Just 4 men going, wish we had tits.
Hello everyone, welcome. We're going to be previewing Liverpool versus Aston Villa. It's me, Paul Machin, we've got Steve Hall, we've got Chris Pajak, we've got Jem Mercer, and we've got John Culshaw as well. Final home game of the season. Steve, I mean, look, before we talk about it, because we're doing this right now live. Newcastle are currently beating Brighton. That has a bit of an impact on the whole chat and all that, so we can't go too heavy on all of that. But we'll start, before we get into the game itself, about Anfield. Favourite moments from you of the season at Anfield? Anything that stood out? I mean, there's definitely one game that I can think probably stands out above the others.
I'm not going to say that though. I'm going to say Jota's goal v Spurs.
Okay.
Is my
Yeah,
favourite
that's what I
moment of the
was
season
gonna
so
say.
far.
Yeah.
Just because Richarlison. That's still my favourite moment. But yeah, Anfield's actually been good this season. Like in general, like Liverpool have been good at home.
Yeah.
Liverpool aren't fifth in the league currently because they were shite at home. You know, they're fifth in the league because they couldn't buy an away win. Other than that massive hiccup against Leeds, there's not been any real stinkers at Anfield that I can remember really. They've done all right there. They've won a couple, drew a couple, but that's about it. So yeah, the home form, and I'm quite again. Villa's a tough game, and if it was at Villa Park, I remember it's been recent in the last few years where we've had to go to Villa Park late on, and it's never easy. But and Villa are really good at home and they struggle away. So yeah, I think. I'm confident just because we are at home, and I reference it. There's been great moments at Anfield, like the 7-0, like obviously is the one. You've got Carvalho's goal, but the Jota one. So especially with what's going to happen now, we know obviously Firmino and Milner and Oxencater are going. I think regardless of what happens in the top 4, Liverpool will still be in it by then. By the way, they still have to win this game, and whatever else happens elsewhere. But I think Anfield will be rocking.
Yeah,
and that only bodes well.
Can you look much beyond the 7-0, Chris?
No, it's the 7-0 and it's the Tottenham game, the 2 games that I missed at Anfield this season. for wildly different reasons.
You missed 14 goals.
I know. Every time I miss the game, we fucking saw 7 goals. I should probably stay away at the weekend, to be fair. But I got to watch that Man United game with my dad, and I'm not watched a game of footy with my dad for 10 years. So that was it for me.
Jen, did you agree with the Tottenham one or the Man United one?
Yeah, the Tottenham one. Probably because I nearly ended up in the row in front as well when we scored. I just got picked up and was mid-air.
You were like that with your knees, weren't you? Cracking them. Hey, finally get to stand up.
I know. I did. I nearly ended up on the cop in the row in front. But yeah, definitely, that was definitely a highlight, that one.
I mean, John, again, beating Manchester United when they were just starting to get cocky and arrogant again.
Well, do you know what? I've only been to 3 games this season and can't get a ticket. But one of the games that I got a ticket for was the Man U game. Honest to God. I won't even tell you what I paid for the tickets, right? But it was worth it in the end, you know what I mean? When I got
painted every wall in someone's house for that.
So, but yeah, so that's definitely brought me a little lad at me and that, do you know what I mean? So that was definitely the game of the season for me,
yeah. I mean, just the Man United, I think it's a stuff of dreams. It's mad because, and there's definitely there's a degree of recency bias. I'm glad you mentioned the Carvalho Newcastle one because that felt big at the time. You know, we beat City earlier on in the season.
It felt bigger at the end of the season when we knew how good Newcastle were.
Yeah, definitely.
We didn't actually know if they were that good then, did we?
The Salah goal against Man City where he turns Cancelo inside out on the halfway line and goes through, and that particularly was a game where it was like, right, okay, no more of this messing around, pretending we're crap. We're really good, everyone. It's fine. And then obviously we managed to lose to Forest and Leeds in the weeks that followed. So yeah, I mean, I'm what I found quite interesting, and we'll do loads of season wrap-up content in a week or so's time, but it's been kind of nice starting to think about that and looking back and remembering been some boss wins along the way, and it would be nice that obviously if Brighton could do something, it would be nice to have a bit more optimism going into the weekend and going into the week that follows. But I'm glad that we get to have a general upbeat feeling going into this final game, and doing the farewells for the lads, for Firmino and Milner and stuff will play a big part of that. But yeah, it's nice to get excited about watching Liverpool play footy again.
On the flip side to all of this, at least we're not going to not win the Premier League title on the last day of the season this time and have that heartbreak.
Yeah. I mean, talk about kind of weird positives. Yeah.
At least we're not going to win the league for a minute or two on the last day and then not win the league.
Yeah, we're just being fourth for a minute or two and then Anyway, let's talk about the game then. John, is there anything you want to see done differently? Any players you feel deserve a goal in this game?
I think the run up to the game's been great for the last few weeks. I reckon we just do the same thing. We're only wanting points, aren't we? As long as we get our next 2 games out of the way. And we're just looking at the other teams then, aren't we?
Yeah.
I don't think John would bring Bobby on.
I thought he'd already gone.
Jen, would you do anything like that? I mean, let's use Firmino as an example there. If he's fit and it looks like he was definitely in training this week, so he's likely to be involved in some capacity. The fact that there's something to play for. I mean, look, there's no charity with Firmino, by the way, when we say this. It's not like go on, chuck him on, give him a game to say his farewells. He's got a 1-in-3 goal record this season. I think he's got 11 in 33 for us. He's probably got a better goal to game ratio than Gakpo has. Would you be giving him any time on the pitch?
I wouldn't start him, but I'd bring him on second half. Yeah. And it's not sentimental reasons.
Depending on the score, though. Because you want to get the win first, don't you?
Oh, we will get the win.
I
miss positive. We will get the win.
If you're losing, would you bring him on?
No.
Wouldn't you?
No.
John hates Firmino.
Maybe like the last 10 minutes or something, but I want the win first.
But if you're losing, do you not think
you're losing? Yeah.
You're chasing for the goals. I'll be honest now, I know Darwin might be injured, so it's a different question, but I'd put Bobby on before I put Darwin on. You know, if you were needing a goal at this moment in time,
I think that's a good point.
I'd bank on Firmino to get you one before I do Darwin, just in this moment in time. But
he's been boss this year, Firmino.
Yeah, he has. When he's been fit, he's been good. I don't think.
Do you reckon he's going to be fit? I don't
think
think they're bringing him on the coach because they're going to give him
I don't think he'd be
Yeah,
fit to
you're probably
start.
He
I
won't
think,
start.
I think he'll be on the bench. I don't think he could play 90 minutes.
But if he comes on nice and he scores, I'm not being funny, but the roof's coming off.
Yeah, 100%.
The state, we will riot.
He scored the
it will be
7th.
mental, won't it?
But this is
I know.
He scored the winner.
But this is that thing where when Lallana's leaving, you know, it's a bit of a procession. We keep him off the pitch because we don't want him to get injured to ruin his next move.
By the way, I think Chamberlain might be in that camp right now.
And I think, and Chamberlain might be in a bit of that. And look, I think
Keita's
Keita's
not
injured,
even
isn't he?
getting his
So
kit on.
whatever. But for me, you know, this is the thing. If he's fit and available, he's a good player. You know, this is not a lad on his last legs. I mean, God, Lallana's season still, by the way, playing for a team that's probably had a better feeling season than us this year. But Bobby can contribute, and I think the points on Darwin is
If
good.
Bobby is fully fit, I'd bring him on. Not a chance, but he's only just went back to training yesterday.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think they're only bringing him on for his farewell. That's what I mean. That's the only time. But I wouldn't bring him on for his farewell until we're winning.
Yeah.
And what
So
score
what I mean-
would you have to do?
2-0.
2-0. Has to be 2-0 to bring Bobby on.
Yeah.
So if it's 1-0 with 89,
No,
you're
obviously.
not bringing Bobby on in his last home
If it's
game.
1-0 at 80 minutes,
You
10
are
minutes
so
left,
sly.
you can come on.
Yeah.
We're still chasing that
You're
fourth.
really the most unsentimental person I've ever met.
I'm all for it.
I just-
Cold hearted. You got to get the win. You are right. We can't let this become a sideshow of Milner and Firmino leaving. Liverpool need to win a game of footy.
Yeah.
Like again, it's
Yeah, it's not a testimonial game, is it?
It isn't like
it's
a see you
league
later.
game. Yeah.
Like Steven Gerrard's final game kind of became this. The focus was all about Steven Gerrard leaving, and we got fucking beat.
Yeah.
And like it didn't really mean nothing that season because we've been crap all season, but. Like Liverpool do need to win this game. I know we don't want to age the show, but like whatever happens at Newcastle Brighton, there's still a chance that Liverpool can get because they've still got games to play.
And Man United's midweek game next week against Chelsea.
Exactly, there's all kinds. So like, Liverpool do have to win. John is right in that. You got to pick the best team first. My argument is I think Firmino is still a viable option.
But at 89 minutes,
No,
1-0.
Listen, mate, if it's 1-0
1-0 at 80 minutes, I'd bring him on. But what I'm
Okay,
saying
Sam.
is,
Yeah.
he's not fit.
Yeah.
And so I'm not bringing an unfit
You are
person
right.
on.
You are
Oh, he's not
Do you know what I mean?
starting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are right.
Yeah.
Just
But I
So
still
you
want
bring-
him to get his, well, if we need that goal, he's still going to get that after the whistle.
I do agree.
Yeah.
Though you're right. I think the fitness thing is important. It's like 6 weeks or whatever. I think he's been out. He's had a good old stretch out, and look, he doesn't need to play for much. You're right. He's coming on for 5 minutes at the end of the game.
Bobby
if
Hattrick on
anything.
Saturday.
Well, no, but the thing is, he's capable. He's capable of influencing the game for us. But I like that notion of that. We have to earn the right to give him more than a fleeting appearance
so
on
it's
the
on the
pitch.
players' shoulders.
It's just a game of football. It's
Yeah.
you know
It's
If
not
you
like-
want Bobby to come on,
It's not like
we
he's
need to be
ruffling his
3-0
hair
up.
like he's a little kid. Yeah, go on then, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
and he won't want that. He'll want to come on to play and score because he's a footballer. He's a good footballer.
top footballer.
And it's
Yeah.
different than Milner because there's no scenario where you wouldn't bring James Milner on, really. Liverpool always want James. If it's seen out the lead, they want James Milner on. If they're under the cost, they want James Milner on. You know, even sometimes you'll see them chasing the game and they go, fuck it, let's get James Milner on just to run around a bit. Yeah. So I think there's less scenarios where, you know, if you're protecting a 1-0 with 5 minutes to go and you think, ooh, Roberto Firmino, you might be iffy, you go, fucking hell, you will get James Milner on. So I think he's more likely to both. I think they'll both end up.
There's an ideal world where some footballers get that moment and some don't. I think back to like Jamie Carragher playing QPR and he has that like pearler of a strike from 30 yards and it doesn't go in, but it shouldn't go in because it's Jamie Carragher.
It needed to not go in that one.
Yeah, you know, you're meant to have that, because it's quite like, good effort, you know, wouldn't that, and you can dream about what would have been if that had gone in for
was
them.
Lucas's mad shot where Klopp was laughing, was that in his last game?
I don't know,
or was
but that was
near
just
the
a random
end?
derby game, I think that wasn't it, but, you know, these are the things with Bobby is, it's possible that he could still have a telling impact on the end of the
Mate,
season.
he got
because
equalised
he's
against
that good
Arsenal,
at
didn't
football.
he?
Yeah,
Like,
you know,
he scored big goals.
Exactly. But you're right. I think the sideshow thing is important. I think we need to remember that this isn't a testimonial, as Jen says. This is a serious game of football that needs to be won. The celebrations and the wheeling people out can all happen after the fact. If you know, it can't be. What I'm saying is, there's no planned Bobby substitution. This is not like when a player does his testimonial and you plan a penalty in there so they can take it, so they can score the goal and that kind of thing. Or that one with Adrian for West Ham and he's in the testimonial and he runs the length of the pitch and dribbles past people. That's not what's happening here. Aston Villa want to beat us. They want to come to here and give us a horrible
chasing
afternoon.
Europe. Like, it's a big game for them.
Yeah,
I was on the Up the Villa podcast the other day and they were saying, like, you know, everyone's talking about Liverpool, it's huge for us. They've got Spurs in the side. They've got that Europa League / conference place. Right, and bear in mind, they sacked Steven Gerrard because they were going to get relegated. They're on the comeback season of all comeback seasons too.
There's a nice little side story there of actually just shoving one up Villa and maybe singing Steven Gerrard's song or something like that. I could get behind that certainly. But again,
I'd like a full 90 of Bobby's song. I'll just wonder whether it can be done.
That's it. We should do like a sort of like a bingo or odds on what is the. It was about 15 minutes.
There was a game against Brighton a couple of years ago where it went on from about 32 to half time that I remember just being absolutely brilliant. But yeah, if we could get a full half of the Bobby song.
There's also a point, Unai Emery has been nominated for Manager of the Year and Jurgen Klopp hasn't. And I know he's turned them around from relegation fodder or whatever, but it's, when you're just thinking like...
I don't think that's quite right, to be honest. I don't think Jurgen should be.
Yeah, but I mean, there's also a nice thing where, fuck Unai Emery. And sticking back in his
also, Unai Emery's allowed on the pitch. Jurgen's in the stands.
As well. Fair enough.
Good to see him.
Is there any... does the team pick itself for you, Chris?
I think so. I think it's just going to be the normal goalkeeper and back four that we've seen recently. Kanate, obviously, and for Matip. I think Fabinho, probably Henderson, Jones. I think we might see Jota rather than Diaz, because he played a couple of times on the bounce now and obviously coming back off a big injury. I think you might see Jota. But other than that, I imagine it'll be Gakpo and Salah. It wouldn't surprise me if it was Jota, to be honest, or Diaz.
I'm with you. I think it'll be Jota as well.
Yeah, just a wonderful little comment here from Eth Chamberlain saying Brighton is not living up to their namesake, for fuck's sake. Stupid Brighton. The biggest question mark is going to be Jota or Diaz. I think everything else kind of sorts itself out. It was interesting, Robbo did interview the official club website and hinted at the idea of Liverpool having two formations moving forwards. And it's whether that is Gakpo in the midfield or it's back to 4-3-3, but it doesn't feel like this will be the game where they go, all that great work we've been doing for weeks on trying to learn this new thing, but I'd say, just park that for a bit while we play Aston Villa.
They did it against Brentford, though, mate. That was last home game. The last home game we played, Gakpo played centre mid. Yeah. So it might be the home and away thing. It might be that he fancies him at home, where he thinks it gives us a chance to be more attacking. You know what I mean? He might just say
they're going to get on the ball loads.
Yeah. Maybe because he might just say to Henderson, say if you like Southampton away, Gakpo. That way you play all four of them. I think you can only do that though if your bench has got, if Darwin's fit, because you start four of them. Your only option off the bench is a half-fit Roberto Firmino. Yeah. It feels maybe a bit too... Elliott, it's not ideal any of those situations. So I think it'll be Jota. I think I would pick Jota as well. I think he's more likely to score at the moment.
Jota over Diaz.
Yeah, I think he's more likely to score at the moment. Diaz. I think the balance of the side long term is better with Diaz because he's a left winger and Jota isn't. But at this moment, I still think Diaz has been all right. He's been decent, but he reminds me what Jota was like 6 weeks ago. There's still a bit of rust there and isn't quite there again. Liverpool, it was when it's Leicester away, you can kind of get away with someone having an iffy game. I think this will be a tough one, and I think you need to be all guns blazing.
John, Jota or Diaz?
I'm a massive Diaz fan, but I'll go with you and say Jota, only because he is just coming back from that massive injury, and we are terrified of losing him again before the end of the season. Do you know what I mean? So I'll probably go with Jota as well.
Yeah, same Jota.
Are we in agreement? Sorry, what are you going for, Chris?
Yeah, I said Jota first.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm quite surprised.
I love Diaz, mate, and I think next year Diaz will be in the first 11. Yeah. But Monday, Saturday, and I don't think he was brilliant against Leicester. I don't think. Yeah. I think he was a bit. I think he was rusty, but again, I've got to reference it. Leicester crap.
There is a thing with,
and you get away with it. Like Villa aren't crap.
Villa are going to come though and park the bus and play and try and counter attack. And it's whether we want to throw the kitchen sink at them from minute one and try and get that early goal. And do you go mad? Maybe you do the 4? And again, that's not. I think you probably do keep Jota on. I think someone like Diaz to inject with half an hour to go when they're getting a bit tired and you want someone to just kind of run them ragged is a possibility. But then look, I could literally spin then you bring your more natural finisher Jota on to terrorise them, blah blah blah. I don't know. I think I'd be tempted to go Jota as well. Yeah, I'd go with that. Score predictions, John?
I don't know. I think it's I reckon it's going to be another big scoring one, maybe a 3-0 or 4-0 or something.
I like that.
3-2 to us, obviously.
3-2?
Yeah.
how's that? Is that like a late winner for us, or Bobby off the bench?
Bobby late winner there.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll get sentimental for you. No, I just think like just the way like Spurs, it was like the 4-3. There's been a lot of games like that where I just think it's just going to go like that.
It's been a lot of confidence lately, though, hasn't he? Just of late.
So, 3-1 or 3-2, I'll go with, yeah.
I'm going to go another clean sheet. Would that be 3 on the bounce for us then? Is that right? We've got 2 on the bounce already. I'm going to go another clean sheet. I'm going to go like you. I'm going to 3 now.
3-1. Yeah. I think Watkins will score. I think Roberto Firmino will score as well, by the way. Okay. I do think he comes on and scores.
Yeah.
I think it's that third Samba goal.
Yeah.
And he can
and no look.
I mean, amazing. I think he scores.
Imagine if Aston Villa make us kick towards the Annie Road end in the second half, and he doesn't no look and looks at the cop.
Sure. Yeah, why not? Absolutely.
That is the stuff dreams are made of.
Absolutely fine with that.
I'll be 3 rows in front.
That's amazing.
Jen's in the main stand.
I'm literally in the goal.
I've predicted some big wins of late, and we've been close, but I feel like this is going to be. I just think this is going to be a bit of a horrible one. I'd love this to be one where we get a couple of goals up early doors and just it's just a game of football.
It always is, though, isn't it? The last game when there's a big send-off. You mentioned that Gerrard one before. It always feels like it's crap.
Yeah,
it's too hyped.
Man United play at the same time. They play Bournemouth away in that time, and it's one of those things. It's not quite the last day of the season, all that kind of stuff, but there is a thing to scores filtering down and all that. And if they're not winning, and we're comfortably winning at half time, I'd like us to do the kind of thing that City have done over the years, and we've done it. We did when we beat City as well, of just make them really scared about us, because it looks like Newcastle are going to absolutely piss Brighton everywhere at this point.
Wow, what score is it?
2-0. So the I think we'll win 1-0, but I would, because Liverpool like to make us stress out over things. But I would much prefer if we just beat them 5-0.
But I'll just stick to my ritual. Is I always go to the toilet early, like, because I can't be bothered queuing. And I can guarantee you, just before half time, I go down the toilet and we always score. And I come back and they all go, like, the fella behind me tapped me the other day and he was like, you should be going to the toilet now, you know. The last 3 times we scored just before half time, I've literally got downstairs and gone, we scored and missed it.
Absolutely.
So it's like, I think it's like a good luck thing.
Just go and sit in that bog. We were like 20-0.
I'll just sit on the concourse like the whole game, not even watch.
Right, before we go, just to let you know, we are doing a live event on Friday evening. So if you're watching this before then, at Hotel Anfield, it's us and the Ragamuffins. So we're going to do some post-season wrap-up content. Chris, Steve and Chloe are going to be pitching to be Liverpool's next director of football in front of a crowd, which is going to be very good. And then the Ragamuffins are going to play a full set to blow the doors off at the end of the night as well. So if you need some happiness in your life, come down. Tickets are available. Link will be in the description. If you want to pay on the door as well, you can come down and do that. But yeah, Hotel Anfield in the shadow of Anfield, the stadium, Friday night. If you're looking for something to do, come and join us over for that one. Anyway.
Just to let you know, that's Friday the 19th.
Yes. Yeah, just turn up if it's the week after. Shit out of luck. Buy some pints for Hotel Anfield. It's a good place. Right, guys, thank you so much. That was an absolute pleasure. We're going to be doing Redmen Uncensored with these guys as well. So if you want to come and check out that show, you can get it at half price for a year worth of content on redmenplus.com. If you join up as a club captain yearly subscription, use the code YEAR. You get it for 50% off. It's just 25 quid for an entire year, including our Bobby Firmino documentary in that time as well. And of course, this time next year when Liverpool are about to win the quadruple. So get signed up for that, and we hope to see you over there in a bit. Bye.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed the show. Did you know that if you become a Club Legend subscriber, that's a yearly Club Legend on redmenplus.com, we will send you 2 instant free merch codes to get yourself some decent clobber from Redmen merch. So it's a no-brainer. Go and do it.